chat. The Psychetruth live chat. Every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time on your YouTube machine. Live chat, live chat, live chat, live chat. I'll answer your questions about whatever you want to talk about on the Psychetruth. Live chat, live chat, live chat, live chat. The Psychetruth. Live chat, live chat, live chat, live chat, live chat, live chat. The Psychetruth. Live chat. Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Corrina Rachel and I am a certified holistic health coach. I've made hundreds of videos on the topic of weight loss, nutrition, stress relief. Some of you may know me from the ASMR channel and you're thinking, whoa, she sounds totally different talking in her normal voice. So, all of those topics in the big umbrella of wellness are all fair game for this live chat. So I'm already seeing some questions funneling in here from the chat room. So welcome, welcome, welcome to each and every one of you. Just a couple quick things before I start diving into questions. And then the next 2 hours just fly by. As in, I almost don't even realize that amount of time has passed. Okay, so first off, you're welcome to leave your questions in the chat room, as many of you already are. If you put some question marks at the beginning of your question, like Leslie A has done here in the chat, it just makes it easier for me to see the questions amidst all the little commenting and chitter chatter between you guys. I love that, you know, y'all are conversating during the live chat. But anyways, those question marks at the beginning of your question just make it easier for me to see. Second thing is that this is a super chat, which means that you can leave a tip with your question. And guys, we really, really appreciate your tips. It's what's helping to keep us alive right now. Another cool perk is that if you leave a tip with your question, guys, even if you just tip me like $1, okay, $1. All right, YouTube will bump your question up to the top and give me a little notification. So the best way to guarantee that your question gets answered is to leave a little tip with your question. And like I said, you could just leave me $1 if you don't have the cash to spend a lot. But hopefully the information that you receive in this chat is worth $1 to you. You know, if everybody in the chat gave me $1, we would be in, you know, we would have such a help to our channel, to our video production efforts. So please consider being a little generous today. Thanks in advance for all of you who do decide to leave a tip. So now I'm scrolling through looking for questions. I am simply mad. Thank you, Bushra Sabir. I do feel simply mad today. Fatin Farzana, hello from Malaysia. Hello from Samadov. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but hello to all of you. Thank you so much and welcome. Alrighty, Harvinder Singh. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but Harvinder, thank you so much for your question. Hello from Dubai. And the question is spirulina good for health? So I think that someone asked this, maybe it was at the end of the chat last week or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. So spirulina, snooze. So funny, my computer, we did all these updates before we started, And now it's telling me again that there's updates I need to restart. Anyways, okay, so spirulina is a type of dark green, okay, basically a cyanobacteria that is present from the ocean. And what happens when we take things from the ocean, so whether it's seaweed or spirulina, and there's a couple of other supplements that have become very popular that also are kind of taken from the ocean, what you end up with is a very nutrient-dense superfood, sometimes they're called. So spirulina is a very healthy thing to take. It's very nutrient dense. We get a lot of different minerals. Anytime that we take something that's from the ocean, so seaweed is a great example, will typically be a good source of minerals, of iodine as well. So iodine is very important for protecting the thyroid. So anyone with thyroid issues will typically benefit from taking any kind of sea vegetable or sea plant, spirulina included. So, you know, the thing about these kind of like super green supplements is that they can be a little funny in taste depending on what you're taking. And I know there's a lot of different spirulina supplements out there right now. There's probably some that don't have very much of a flavor. But that is one thing to consider. I think spirulina is a great thing to like add into your smoothie, you know, just so rather than like taking a glass of spirulina powder in water, just mixing it in with something can be a lot easier. Or you can also, you know, typically get caplets or capsules or something like that. So really good question. Thank you so much, Harverinder. I'm going to go ahead and keep going since we're right at the beginning of the chat. I just want to get to as many questions as I can. Barbara says hello from Idaho. Leslie A, what do you put on your hair? It looks so healthy. I am a minimalist when it comes to my hair, and I treat my hair in many ways the same way I treat my body. So let me just get a little like up close action on here. So I do shampoo my hair. I'm not one of those no poo people. I do shampoo it, but I'm always looking for really natural ingredients for things that I use on my skin or on my hair. So I really like this brand, Desert Essence. Makes a really good shampoo. The one I'm using right now, I think, is by like Avalon Organics, or no, maybe something else. There's also another brand called Everyday Shea, and they have a couple of different ones. So there's ones that's like Everyday Coconut, and that Everyday Coconut is really awesome as well. So I just shampoo like a couple times a week. Anytime I work out or get really sweaty, I definitely shampoo my hair afterwards, but I'm just trying to not shampoo it every single day. And then I use my conditioner as a leave-in, and it's the only thing I put on my hair. No gel, no mousse, no sprays. I've tried all that stuff over the years, and what I found I like the best, I just use my conditioner like a leave-in. And so I just, you know, put it in my hair as a product, like after I get out of the shower, and kind of scrunch it in. You know, I think depending on your hair, you know, everyone's going to be different. So this is my natural hair color. I've really, you know, the hair itself is pretty thin, but I have a lot of it. And so I can get away with using my conditioner as a leave-in. Depending on what kind of hair you have, it might be too heavy for you, but that's what I do, and I love it. And it's so simple. I used to have like 8 different hair products, and it was so annoying. And now I just, you know, I have my shampoo, I have my conditioner, and that's it. Okay. So Leslie, thank you so much for your question. Whoa, I just got this huge... So sometimes I'm like scrolling through my comments, and then YouTube will just dump like 400 comments on me all at once and kind of pushes everything down. Okay, so in Ninja Ninja HR, best types of exercise for someone with arthritis, psoriatic arthritis, knees and back are the worst culprits. So arthritis is an inflammatory condition where essentially all of the little cushions, for lack of a better word, that are supposed to cushion our joints and facilitate our movement start to kind of atrophy or be just kind of broken away by inflammation, for lack of a better way of explaining it. So you want to look for things that are really gentle, that are low impact. So a high impact exercise would be running, right? So you can think about the impact of like every single time your foot hits the pavement, it puts this huge amount of impact on your joints. So low impact exercises would be things like swimming, right? Swimming would probably be my best recommendation for you because it's so gentle on your joints. You're literally not going to be, putting pressure on your joints the way that you would with running. Cycling is lower impact than running, but I still think that even cycling could be maybe a little bit too much on your joints. So swimming is a really good example. I would definitely recommend doing some kind of, very gentle yoga. What's known as yin yoga is extremely gentle. It involves going into poses and holding them for long periods of time and really just breathing into the different poses and stretches. So you could try something like that, or just any of our videos that are called like gentle beginners yoga might be good things to try. And then the most important thing is just listening to your body. So with whatever thing you start to try getting into or doing, if it's uncomfortable, and especially if it's painful, if you're getting any kind of sharp shooting pains or anything like that, just back off from whatever you're doing. The bottom line is that everyone's bodies are different. So it's really hard to give, like one recommendation that's gonna work for everybody. Knees and back. Unfortunately, that kind of limits the different things you're going to be able to do. However, it is really important for you to focus on just moving your body and focusing on, flexibility and mobility. So that just means your body's ability to move through different postures, to move the joint in all of the different ways that it's supposed to move. So, I don't know if you're trying to like lose a lot of weight, or you're just looking for ways to stay healthy, or maybe ways to even rehab your joints. We had one yoga teacher, Julia, that did a whole yoga flow for healthy joints. And I think if you put in healthy joints as a search term on our channel, you can find that video. But anything for joint mobility or something like that would be maybe a good thing to look at. And I would just encourage you to focus more on nurturing your joints, focus more on maintaining your mobility. So just making sure that all of your different joints can move in all of the different ways they're supposed to move. And just know that that's more important than actually, doing some kind of intense exercise. It is important to do something cardiovascular, so something that gets your heart rate elevated. But, again, that could be something like swimming. That could be something as simple as doing some kind of follow along yoga or follow along stretching video. And just knowing that, the more intensity that you use, that will help to elevate your heart rate and give you those good cardiovascular benefits without being super hard on your joints, and causing additional pain or additional arthritis from what you're already experiencing. Delhi Sehu, I'm sure I'm not saying that right. Delhi Sehu, my weight is stagnated. What should I do? So I'm just assuming that you are referring to what they call a weight loss plateau. So that means that someone is doing something to lose weight, you know, changing diet or changing exercise. They're doing well, they're losing, and then at some point, they just stop losing weight. So it's not that you're putting on more weight, but the things you were doing before to lose weight just suddenly aren't working anymore. And so your weight is stagnated, or what they call a weight loss plateau. So there's a couple of different things to think about when you hit that, kind of hit that plateau or hit that point where you stop losing and you're like, what is going on? First of all, is that remember that our bodies are very habitual, right? They get used to our habits. So if you are doing the same exercise regimen that you've been doing for the last, say, 5 months, and it's been working really well, well, at some point your body will start to kind of acclimate to that level of activity. And so what you need to do to create change in the body, so to keep just from maintaining your weight, but to create that change and start losing again, is increase your intensity of your exercise, or just variety of your exercise. So this could be things like doing the workout regimen you're already doing, but just working out longer, or stepping up the intensity of the moves you're doing by doing them faster, or maybe adding something like weights around your wrists or weights around your ankles, which will increase the intensity of whatever activity you're doing. Or just think about mixing it up all together. So let's say you've been doing, cardio, fitness, boot camp kind of thing to lose weight, and now suddenly that's not working anymore. Just think about trying something different. Just changing things up, giving your body something new. That variety, that change of intensity can be really, really just kind of what it takes to push your body back into that fat burning mode. So kicking up the intensity, or just changing up the variety of what you're doing. You also could consider, looking at your diet and maybe figuring out if maybe there's another step that you can take towards making your diet even healthier. So if you're, if you're already eating really, really healthy, you've eliminated the processed foods, the junk foods, the sugar, maybe now you start looking at the healthy foods you're eating and saying, well, what can I do to step it up even a little bit more? I'm not a fan of counting calories or calorie restriction, because when you restrict your calories too much, it puts your body into a state of stress, a state of panic, or thinking that there's a famine coming. So this is why restricting calories is really not a good idea. However, once you hit that weight loss plateau, you might look at the amount of food you're eating, or if you're counting your calories, go by that and just bring it down a little bit. So I'm not telling you to skip meals or do any kind of significant calorie restriction, but you can start looking at the things you're eating and just noticing, oh, well, maybe I should have, less of these, higher carb things like, beans and rice and stuff like that, and try to eat just more vegetables, which is just in general kind of a good sign. Other just key things I have to say to anyone who's trying to lose weight: remember that if you're stressed out all the time, that stressful state, that cortisol hormone, prevents your body from burning fat. So you got to reduce your stress. You've got to get plenty of sleep, because the primary time that your body actually does this process of ketosis and burning fat is while we're in a deep state of sleep. So stress and sleep, two really important factors to remember when you're trying to lose weight. So just keeping those things in mind, keep some variety, keep challenging yourself. just a general rule of thumb for weight loss, flexibility, whatever it might be, is that if you want to have change in your body, you've got to challenge your body. So keep that in mind. Remember that there's always going to be some level of discomfort, but it should never be painful to work out or to stretch or whatever, but you do need to challenge yourself. You do need to go out of your comfort zone a little bit in order to get those real changes that you want to see. Liza Espinoza, advice about dealing with low back pain. Man, oh man, I hate it when my low back starts hurting. Low back pain is the worst. So a couple things to think about. First of all, we're sitting all day, we're standing all day. The low back becomes very compressed. Super compressed, just from gravity pulling down our body over that, lower part of the spine, the lumbar spine. So when we're talking about low back pain, one just kind of simple concept I try to think about is, how can I create more space in my low back? How can I take that, pull of gravity on my low back and try to either neutralize it or reverse it? So anytime you are doing like a child's pose in yoga or a forward fold, where you just are basically just it's all about bending the back. So where the back is normally kind of has this S curve, we're sitting there, we're standing there. The idea is just bending it over. So a couple things to think about. I think child's pose is one of the best ways to do this. And if you just watch any yoga video, they'll teach you child's pose in it. You can do child's pose with your legs either together or your legs wider apart. And depending on whether your legs are apart or together, that will change whether it's working more into your hips or into your back. So just encourage you to kind of play with that child's pose and moving your legs around, and then just breathing really deeply as your low back is able to stretch out and elongate in that pose. If you do a forward fold, okay, which is just, bending forward over your legs, if you're not very flexible or you're in a lot of pain, I encourage you to do it against a wall. So I'll actually kind of, walk up to the wall, put my bum against the wall, and then bend your knees. So if you are really super flexible, you can bend over your legs with your legs straight, but most of us can't. And especially if you're dealing with back pain and stuff like that, I encourage you to, so walk up to the wall, put your bum against the wall, bend your knees a little bit, and then you can kind of forward fold over your legs. And what bending your knees does is allows your back, your spine, to just relax there. So if your legs are straight and you fold over, you're getting a stretch to your hamstrings and the backs of your legs. But if you bend your legs and fold over, it really lets your spine let go. And I think doing it with your bum resting against a wall is really, really good, because then you just have that stability and you're not trying to balance, and you can just breathe into that really nice stretch you're getting in your low back. You can also then play with straightening your legs, because another part of low back pain can come from being really tight in your hamstrings or the back of your thighs. So again, thinking about, we're sitting all the time, we're driving all the time. Even if you're standing up all day, just standing is really not stretching your hamstrings. So a lot of us get really tight in the backs of the legs, and so what that does is kind of pull on the sacrum, or on that, kind of bony structure of the low back. So stretching your hamstrings can be very effective, but you really just need to think about being easy on yourself. You don't want to just go into a stretch that's painful and try to hold it. So to get the most out of those back pain stretches, just move into the stretch, whatever it is, whether it's child's pose or fold, doing a forward fold at the wall. You just want to go as deeply into the stretch where you kind of feel the stretch, right? It starts to feel slightly uncomfortable, but don't go past the point where you're still able to breathe comfortably into that stretch. The same thing would go if you were to be sitting down with your legs out in front of you and start to fold over your legs. It's not going to be beneficial to just reach for your toes and hold your breath, and you're not stretching then. So you want to think about folding with your chest rather than, just dunking your head over. Think about keeping your head lifted and reaching forward with your chest, and just going as far as you're still able to breathe calmly and deeply into that stretch, into that spot. We have probably 200 videos about low back pain on this YouTube channel, between stretches for low back pain, yoga for low back pain, general tips for low back pain. So if you put that in as a search on our channel, you can find a lot of different information. And I just encourage you to experiment with some of those different stretches. Again, every single person's body is different. So, trying out different poses and different stretches is really the best way to figure out exactly what's going to, feel the best for your body and give you that relief that you're looking for. Sierra Miller, what can be a natural remedy for chapped lips? So I, throughout all of my life, I have so many memories, all through high school, all through college, always with really chapped lips, and always having the chapstick or the soft lips or the whatever, and basically not being able to live without it, to where I would buy like 5 of them so that I would always have one in my desk, in my backpack, in my pocket. Over the last couple years, I do not struggle with chapped lips anymore. During the winter times, I definitely like to have a little chapstick or something. But for the most part, I just don't struggle with chapped lips anymore. So I think that there's a lot of different kind of pieces to this puzzle. First off is thinking about the stuff that you use on your lips and the chapstick. Unfortunately, most of those kind of name brand chapstick chapsticks, are petroleum based. So sometimes you'll see petrolatum on the ingredient label. There's some other petroleum based ingredients that you won't recognize unless you know to look for them. Bottom line for me is that I stopped using all of those ingredients, and just in general on my skin, on my hair, I'm always looking for things that are as natural as possible, and just trying to avoid things with fragrances and flavors and methylparabens, EDTA, all of these little preservatives and fillers and whatevers. So the last chapstick that I bought, and I still have them, but it actually fixed my chapped lip problem so that I don't have to use them very often anymore, is by a brand called Lovetica. It's like Love Tika, but I think they say Lovetica. Anyways, it's a hemp oil lip balm. I have not had to buy a lip balm since I started using the Lovetica. And I think it's because it actually replenished the moisture in my lips. It's amazing. Because I remember when I used to use soft lips and all that stuff, I would have to put it on 25 times a day. And not just because it tasted really good, my lips would just get painfully chapped. Anyhow, since so it was about a year ago maybe that I ordered the Lovetica, and I just started using those, and honestly, I don't need them anymore. Now that it's starting to get colder, it's still 80 degrees here in Texas right now, which is why I'm wearing a tank top. But it will eventually start getting colder here as well, which I know that it is for a lot of you. Obviously, when it gets cold, that just dries out our skin. Drinking plenty of water during the winter months is so important. Just remember that, dry skin on the outside is still connected to your insides. And I think that's really important to remember. So drinking plenty of water, which a lot of times, like I know during the summer, we drink more water because we get thirsty and hot. During the winter times, people forget to drink water. And this is just something that I say based on what I observe for myself, for my friends, my health coaching clients. So remember to drink water. It's so important. Healthy fats. Healthy fats in the diet are something that I talk about all the time. But when it comes to your skin and your lips and even your hair for that matter, those healthy fats are really important. So having healthy fats in your diet, I think directly translates into the appearance and dryness, so to speak, of your skin, your lips, etc. And lastly, I would just say try out the Lovetica lip balms. I love them. I'm gonna actually maybe even reach out to them again and see if I can get like a coupon code or something from them, so that I can offer that out to you guys, because I swear I love that stuff. Since I used that stuff, a year ago or whatever, my lips just aren't chapped. It's amazing. I love it. So really good question, Sierra. Thank you so much for that. Kenza Sadi, I just started practicing exercises like squats, etc. How many days before I can see the difference? I'm thin, so I don't know. I think it's really difficult for us to personally see the differences in our own bodies because we look at ourselves all the time, all day long. It's like when somebody's, like if you haven't seen somebody in a while and you notice that their hair is longer, you notice that they grew a beard when they didn't have one before. It's easier to notice changes, even if they're small changes, when you're not seeing that person every day. So I just say that off the top because I see a lot of people that, they feel frustrated that they're not seeing results, they're not seeing a difference in their body. And so I just think it's important to remember that, you're looking at yourself at least once a day, in the mirror, probably more than that, especially if you're trying to lose weight. So it's going to be really hard to notice these small incremental changes because you're not going to have, a really significant muscle mass in like one day. Right? So you'll have that significant change. It'll just occur, slowly. So one thing you can do is try to not weigh yourself every day. That'll be a good way to see differences. If you're looking for physical changes like muscle growth, muscle definition, as much as you can, to not check yourself out in the mirror every single day, which is really hard. That's why I don't really know. But the more that you can, not be constantly looking every single day, twice a day, trying to see results, is going to help you see more results because you'll be able to notice those smaller incremental changes. Another thing to consider is that, so she says, I just started practicing these exercises. So I don't know how old you are. Like, are you a teenager and you're just trying to get healthy? Are you like in your 30s and you're just starting to exercise? Depending on how long you've been sedentary in your life before you start working out, that can also affect how long it takes you to see results. So remember that our bodies are very habitual, so if you're coming from a decade or two of not really being very active, not exercising, or, trying to build these muscle groups, it can take a bit longer for your body to kind of adjust to this new level of exercise and really start responding with noticeable muscle growth, strength, etc. Whereas somebody who is younger, or maybe they're already really fit and already in, good shape and they exercise, but only now are you starting to do squats and actually lift weights and see differences. So all of those things are going to affect it. Largely, the factor that determines how long it'll take you to see results is how committed you are. How often do you work out? How long do you work out? Is this something you're doing once a week? Or is this something that you're trying to make time for every single day? If you're making positive changes in your diet as well, then that will also help you to see the results more quickly. Okay, so there are 2 questions here. So Yellow Flower is asking about intermittent fasting. And then a comment down, Teresa, forgive me, Breithout. I could spend all day just trying to pronounce your last name. I apologize. So Yellow Flower and Teresa, one question is about intermittent fasting and one is about the keto diet or ketogenic diet. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about those. And this answer is going to be really spectacular for anyone trying to lose weight. So anyone out there in the chat room right now who's trying to lose weight, please pause whatever you're doing, listen to this answer. And, whether you're interested in intermittent fasting or you've ever even heard of the ketogenic diet, this answer is going to contain some important information about losing weight. Okay, and I just need to grab a sip of water for 1 second. Okay, so just a couple of really kind of basic pillars of weight loss and intermittent fasting and ketogenic diets. Both of those weight loss techniques, you could say, kind of are based on these pillars. Okay, so the first pillar is that your body cannot store fat and burn fat at the same time. Essentially, your body's ability to burn fat for fuel, okay, what some people refer to as my metabolism. How do I boost my metabolism? What they're asking is, how do I encourage my body to burn fat for fuel? So essentially, that process is contingent on a lot of different hormones in the body. And every single time we eat, and really every single time we do anything, okay, the body is releasing different hormones based on what we're doing. Okay, so when we eat sugar or carbohydrates, really when we eat anything, the body releases insulin to deal with the elevated blood glucose level. So when you eat, depending on what you eat, that meal is going to increase your blood glucose or your blood sugar by some amount. So if you eat a Coca-Cola and a bag of potato chips, your blood sugar is going to spike up really, really quickly, right? Or if you were to, eat a lollipop or white bread. White bread is another thing that shoots your blood glucose levels up very, very quickly. Well, when that happens, the body kind of panics because the blood sugar level's gone too high. So it releases a hormone called insulin. And insulin is known as the fat storage hormone. So anytime that you are, spiking your blood sugar and the pancreas responds by surging with insulin, that puts your body in a fat storing mode. And no matter how much you exercise, the presence of insulin puts your body in that fat storage mode, and it's not gonna burn fat no matter how much you work out. This is why Powerade and Gatorade, in my opinion, are some of the biggest shams in the world of fitness and weight loss, because the idea that you would drink sugar, high fructose corn syrup, while you're working out is just, it's just completely crazy. Right? Because if you've got sugar and insulin in your bloodstream, even while you're working out, your body's going to burn that sugar. And it's not even going to go into those fat reserves. All right? So that's pillar number 1. You can't burn fat and store fat at the same time. Fat burning, okay, or ketosis, which is where the body takes the stored fat out of the fat cell, turns it into a ketone, and then burns the ketone for energy. That's known as ketosis. And this is where the ketogenic diet comes from. It's all about keeping your body in that state of ketosis as much as possible, for as long as possible. So glucagon is a hormone that is responsible for helping you burn fat. Glucagon is secreted when we eat protein. This is one of the reasons why protein is really important for weight loss. So if you can do something simple, like remember to avoid sugars, avoid carbohydrates because they boost your insulin, and just try to make your meals, and especially your snacks, primarily healthy fat and healthy protein. Those types of foods promote this glucagon secretion. And remember, the glucagon is more associated with burning fat, keeping your body in that state of ketosis. So the idea of intermittent fasting deals with prolonging the periods of time that you don't have sugar in your bloodstream. You know, the whole idea being that the longer you can go in between your blood sugar spikes, the longer your body stays in that fat burning mode, and you decrease the amount of time that you're in a fat storage mode. So this is why I recommend that you, kind of avoid sugary or carby snacks, carbohydrate heavy snacks, if you're trying to lose weight. Because if you are in that fasting period between your meals, the last thing you want to do is spike up your sugar and insulin and put yourself back in the fat storing mode or sugar burning mode, where your body is just burning through the sugar in your bloodstream, and your thighs and your beer belly and stuff, like they're not being touched at all. So so I see that intermittent fasting and ketogenic diets both kind of are established on these pillars of manipulating, or just being really conscious of when you're in that fat burning and when you're in that fat storing mode. So with all of that said, what I want to say about intermittent fasting is that it can be very, very effective. However, you just have to remember that your body's ability to burn fat, burn fat for fuel, is a combination of different things. And one of the most important aspects of those is stress. So for someone who's really, really healthy, they eat healthy, they eat regularly scheduled meals, they exercise on a regular basis. If that person is to start doing intermittent fasting, their body is already somewhat acclimated to being healthy, their stress levels are low, they're in good shape. But if you take someone who's eating a lot of processed foods, eating a lot of junk foods, you snack throughout the day, you eat sodas or drink sodas throughout the day, and you're like, oh, I need to lose weight really quick, I'm going to do intermittent fasting. So you're taking someone who's in an unhealthy state, and then they try to do intermittent fasting. I'm pretty sure that long fasts between their meals is just going to stress their body out. So I'm very, very hesitant to recommend intermittent fasting, because it's not something that you can just have any person, randomly do this technique and have good results. It's really important that it's done correctly. And it's really important that you have, I think a healthy foundation that you're starting on. You already need to be eating healthy foods. You already need to have, a healthy lifestyle, low stress, good sleep, and then you can kind of boost your weight loss even more by doing intermittent fasting. But I do not think that intermittent fasting is safe or effective for just the average person, so to speak, who's on the average American diet. There's just so many people out there that are looking for a trick, right? They're looking for a way to lose weight that doesn't involve them, you know, exercising more or changing their diet or whatever. And unfortunately, I do not think that there's really any little trick like that. And unfortunately, I think intermittent fasting is one of those things that has, you know, it's kind of become a fad. It's become really popular. And now there's a lot of people who are doing it, and I don't think it's the right choice for them. Ketogenic diet. Kind of the same deal. You know, this is a very difficult diet to do. It's virtually no sugar, to the extent that on an extreme ketogenic diet, there's no fruit, there's limited vegetables. This is a very difficult diet to do. However, it is really effective. We have someone here in our office who's been doing a ketogenic diet for, I don't even know, like maybe 5 months, 6 months, and he's lost 46 pounds just from changing his diet. Not more exercise, not anything else, just from doing this ketogenic thing. But it's like he can't eat in restaurants, he can't splurge and, you know, have a cookie or have a this or whatever. You know, it's like very, very stringent if you really want to stay in ketosis and get those effects. So it's a difficult diet to do. It's challenging. I think that, you know, it's a hard thing for your average person to make those kind of significant changes. So to wrap it all up in a little bow, I recommend you to just think about those pillars, which is, you know, avoiding spiking your blood sugar up as much as possible. And really, when you are fasting between meals, don't snack. And if you are going to snack, eat an avocado, eat some trail mix, eat, you know, some turkey and a cheese stick or something. Fats and protein will keep you in that fat burning mode. And really, the bottom line all comes back to avoiding blood sugar spikes, avoiding, you know, increasing your blood glucose level all throughout the day, such as people who sip on sodas or have a little, you know, candy bowl that they eat out of all day. Because if you're always putting your body in that fat storage, insulin, high blood sugar mode, you're never going to lose weight, no matter how much you work out. And that is a very, very frustrating thing in itself. So really good questions there. I see a lot of people ask about intermittent fasting and keto diets. So I know I spent kind of a long time. But I think it's an important topic to go through. So thank you for your questions, Yellow Flower and Teresa, something with a B. I can't say your last name. I apologize. Okay, Engineering Mind says, quitting antidepressants and water fast. Would it work? Okay, so if I had one of those big, giant red lights, flashing red lights, here I am right now flashing it like, oh my God, danger zone, do not do that. Please, 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 Engineering Mind, I really hope you're still in this chat room right now to hear me tell you that that sounds like a really bad idea. Really, really bad idea. And here's why. So Engineering Mind, just making sure you're paying attention. One of the most important answers perhaps I've ever given in a live chat. Okay, first thing you have to know about antidepressants is that you should never, ever quit them cold turkey. And just because that's one of the most important things I could ever say to anyone, I'm going to say it again. Antidepressants. Antidepressants should never be quit cold turkey. As in, all at once, going from taking the recommended dose to then taking nothing. That is cold turkey, and that is a bad idea. You need to wean your antidepressants or any psychiatric medication down slowly. Incremental decreases. there are different levels of withdrawal effects that can result from these different drugs. And every person will have different withdrawal effects from the drugs. Some people are so sensitive to changing their psychiatric medication dosage, they will do what's called the bead method, which is where you get the pills and they'll have like 300 beads in them, right? Like little tiny beads. And then they will actually count the beads so that they can, you know, for a week have like 352 beads. And then the next week have like 350, and then the next week 348. And so I just explained that to give you the idea of like what small incremental changes and decreases to help you safely get off of a psychiatric medication. I would also really encourage you to do that with the help of a doctor or doctor of functional medicine. Your psychiatrist probably does not want to help you get off of your psych drugs. But if they are willing to help you with that, depending on your doctor, working with a professional as you do that is always a good idea, because these things can be very, very dangerous, unfortunately. So you never want to quit cold turkey, number one. You always want to wean yourself down slowly. Sometimes you'll need your doctor to prescribe you lower dosage or to prescribe you a pill that can be broken up into pieces or something like that. But weaning very, very slowly. And if you start to have withdrawal effects like headaches, depression, anger, you know, inability to control your emotions, wean even slower. Okay, very, very slowly weaning off of medications. Dr. Peter Breggin, Breggin, Peter Breggin, has several books on the topic of safely weaning down off of psychiatric drugs. So Dr. Peter Breggin, I would encourage you to either check out that book or just go to his website. He's got lots of information there that I think will be very important for you. Okay, and then so the second part about water fasting. You know, water fasting in general is a very extreme thing to do to the body. I do think that for some people that are in a really good state of health, they're already taking care of themselves, they eat really healthy, they exercise well, they're going to be able to do a water fast, and they'll probably even have good results because their body is acclimated and in a really healthy state when they begin. But for probably 90% of the population, okay, maybe 80%, but probably closer to 90%, if I'm just being really honest about like how many people out there are really living a healthy lifestyle, taking really good care of themselves. I hope it's more than 10%. But realistically speaking, I don't know what that would be. But the bottom line is that most people, okay, you know, we're just not taking good enough care of ourselves to be able to get away with doing something that is so stressful on the body. So when you fast and you stop eating food, this puts your body into a very stressed out state where it is thinking that there is a famine, you know, so your body doesn't know that you're purposefully not eating. It can't tell that. It doesn't know that. So when you stop eating solid foods, your body perceives that as a potential famine. And so it kind of starts going into that fight or flight parasympathetic nervous system response that, you know, is what helps us survive a really stressful scenario, but it's not a healthy state for the body. That stressed out fight or flight state of the nervous system, your immune system, your digestion, your hormones, all of these different, your fat burning, all of these different systems take a back burner. They basically just get paused while the body tries to survive this threat, whatever it might be. So fasting is a very stressful thing on the body. If you are going to fast, the only type of fast that I would recommend would be a juice fast, where you are still drinking green juices. Okay, so it's not apple juice and pineapple juice. Okay, it's green juice, like vegetables got juiced. And oftentimes they will put some apples or some pineapples or whatever into those green juices to make them taste really nice. But the bottom line is that it's an assisted fast in that you're still taking in a huge amount of nutrients, even though you're not eating solid food. So your digestive tract still gets a break from not having to manually digest solid food, but you're still getting all of these nutrients coming in. And so it keeps your body from going into that really stressful state of famine because it still has some nutrient intake to, to keep it feeling like there's not a shortage of food around. Engineering mind, wrapping up your little question, I would not recommend any type of fast while you are weaning off of antidepressants. If you are doing anything for your health, do one thing at a time. So if you are changing your dosage or changing medications, don't try to do a fast with that. Right? Kind of a what would I say? Be easy on your body. Be good to your body. Don't stress it out more than is necessary. And definitely anything having to do with antidepressants or any psychiatric drug for that matter, never quit cold turkey. Always wean very slowly. And don't do something stressful like a fast or a water fast while you're doing that. Okie dokie. Scrolling. Saeed, Adam, are you still doing those massage videos? So yes, you've probably noticed on the YouTube channel, we're not posting as much massage, and it's because YouTube flags it. And if we put up a video and YouTube won't put ads on the video, it's just like we have zero hope of ever recouping what we spent to make that video. And we estimate that it costs us between $500 and $1,000 to produce a single video. So because YouTube has shown that they do not like massage videos, we are only putting up our massage videos on our subscription service, wellnessplus.tv. Wellnessplus.tv has, I think, 800 videos on it right now. Probably a couple hundred of those are massage videos because we love making those videos. And we think they're really beneficial for, both for massage therapists, the people who watch them to relax, the people who watch them to learn how to, give their wife or their boyfriend a massage or whatever. So we produce tons of those massage videos still, but they're only available on wellnessplus.tv. We do post some massage still on the YouTube channel, but it has to be like Thai massage or whatever, like fully clothed. YouTube does not like it. If we can't show a bare back. Can't show a back on YouTube anymore, which is just crazy, in my opinion. But anyways, wellnessplus.tv, tons and tons of videos with 10 to 30 new videos getting posted up there every single week. We're just as fast as we can get them edited, they go up on Plus. And we're actually offering a free 7-day trial right now. So if you go to wellnessplus.tv, you can try it free for 7 days. You could probably watch all the massage videos in 7 days. I don't know. I mean, if you maybe just sat there nonstop and all you did was watch videos, you could get through all of them in 7 days. But anyhow, wellnessplus.tv, lots of yoga, lots of 30-day programs to, really give you a comprehensive way to make changes in your body. Lots of guided meditations, ASMR videos, ASMR massage, and just regular massage tutorials as well. Wellnessplus.tv. Jonathan Rogers, how can a person with actual health issues get help from Western medicine that seems to only want to give medications to suppress the symptoms, or radiation, surgery, psychologist, etc.? By the way, very broke. I gotta think about this for a second. So there's this oldies song that, pardon me, I'm not going to be able to sing it very well. But anyways, it's like, my mama told me you better shop around. Shop around. You better shop around. Anyways, okay, sorry, that was really goofy. But anyways, Jonathan, my only advice would be shopping around different doctors. You know, so you said, you know, by the way, I'm very broke. So going and making a whole bunch of different appointments with different doctors is probably not in the cards. But if you know, just sat down for a couple of hours and, you know, look up the phone numbers of, you know, a bunch of different doctors' offices, and then I would just call them and, you know, see, first of all, if there is a doctor that will actually talk to you, you know, that maybe you can schedule a call with or something like that, that's a really good sign. Chances are you'll be primarily talking to his wait staff or, you know, the people that work in his office. But even to them, you know, you might just ask them, hey, you know, so I have this issue, you know, tell them a little bit about what the health issues are you're experiencing, you know, and do you think that Dr. So-and-so would be able to help me with that? And they would probably say, oh, yes, blah, 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 blah. And then maybe you just tell them straight up, so I've been to a lot of different doctors, and it seems like all I'm getting is, you know, medications and surgeries and, you know, all the recommendations they have are things that I really am not that interested in. You know, do you think that Dr. So-and-so would have, you know, maybe another approach he would take? And then she might say, oh yeah, actually we have an entire like nutritional therapy, you know, part of our doctor's office or something like that. So I know the doctor that my mom goes to, inside their doctor's office, they actually have like a nutritional therapist or something like that they work with. So I think that's a good sign that the doctor's office is at least aware of the important kind of nutritional, more natural components of health. But I would just kind of call and talk to people, you know, and like I said, if you can find a doctor you can actually talk to directly, that would be a really good sign. And then you could just ask them, you know, like I'm trying to find some other solutions that are different from what I've already been told. You know, do you have other ideas? And I think if you just called and talked to some different, you know, doctor offices and whatever, you could probably find one that seems like, you know, that person's a bit more open-minded. There's definitely a lot of Western medicine doctors now that, you know, that are aware of the more naturopathic components, like looking at nutrition, you know, looking at, you know, food allergies and things like that, that 10 years ago, you know, nobody even paid attention to, but now even the mainstream has kind of been forced to become aware of that. So shopping around for different doctors would be the first recommendation. Other things I would say are, you know, taking control of your own health. You know, so what can you do to, you know, get online and research your health issues, which you haven't really told me what they are, so I'm being very vague, you know, but maybe you go and spend a couple of hours researching, you know, the diagnosis you've been given or the medications they've recommended to you, and just research them and see what you can find out. Because typically, no matter what our health issue is, now I just say typically because obviously there's some exceptions, but typically if we go and we do some research and look around, we can find some really valuable information from other people that have struggled with that same health issue. There's also a whole lot of naturopathic doctors and functional medicine doctors now who publish either articles or videos or vlogs or whatever about various issues. One of them that comes to mind is Dr. Amy Myers. Dr. Amy Myers is just fantastic. I've actually never met her in person, but I have spent a lot of time watching her videos, reading her books, reading the articles on her website. And so, you know, for whatever that health issue is you're experiencing, I just encourage you to go and do some research. And chances are you will find some information that can at least be helpful for you, or can at least kind of guide you toward, you know, what's going to be the best solution, what's going to be the best use of your money. What, you know, is it going to be actually finding a doctor of functional medicine that will work with you? Or, you know, maybe you look around and you discover that, you know, iodine deficiency is a really big part of whatever the health issue you're experiencing. And suddenly you go, you get an iodine supplement, and maybe you resolve the problem on your own. So shop around, do some research, reach out to people, talk to people. There also tend to be a lot of like groups on Facebook for various health issues and disorders. So if you even look around for something like that and maybe just find a group of people that are, you know, experiencing some of the same stuff that you are, you can probably learn a lot just from, you know, learning from them and what's worked for those people that also suffer from those same conditions. So I had a tip come in here, and it just said, "Great job, Psychetruth. Thanks for all you do." From Brian D. Thank you so much, Brian. That is really, really kind of you. So I'll just take a quick moment here to say that we deeply, deeply appreciate your tips on this live chat. Brian D has left a tip but didn't even ask a question. So that's just so kind of you. There's another person, Free One Up. I don't know if you're in here right now, but Free One Up has left a bunch of tips in this live chat without even leaving a question, just because he felt bad that no one else was tipping. So thank you, Brian D. That's really kind of you. If you have a question, be sure to let me know, because I owe you an answer now. Thank you so much. Those of you in the chat, I will go ahead and just remind you, since we're kind of getting into the last like 30 minutes or so here, there's no way I'll be able to get to all of the questions that have been left. There's just so many of them. If you leave a tip, YouTube will actually bump your question up to the top. So if you're in the chat room now and you're like, oh, I really want her to answer my question, leave a tip. Like my tips, then show some love. So anyhow, you know, even if you just tip $1, you know, hopefully the information that you have gotten in this chat today is worth $1. So even if you just tip $1, YouTube will actually bump your question up to the top. It's the only way to guarantee that you get an answer to your question. So Marcella Blasquez says, I was a vegetarian for 12 years and a vegan for 2, but since my son was born 1.5 years ago, I can't stop eating milk and eggs. So the whole vegetarian, vegan, meat eating or not eating meat thing is a very complex topic. I think the most important thing to say about it is that I believe every person's body is different. And I don't believe that there is one single diet or way of eating that is right for every single person on the planet. There's a couple of, kind of simple pillars, to use that word again, that I think everyone should do, like eating vegetables. Everyone should eat more vegetables. Everyone should drink water. But when it comes to things like dairy, meat, eggs, and whether or not to include these foods, I think that has to be on a person-by-person basis. I don't think that milk and eggs are inherently evil foods. Now, the conventional or mainstream milk and dairy and animal products are bad. But that is because of the way that they are created. The foods that they feed to the livestock and animals and to the cows, the hormones, the antibiotics that they put into the cows and the animals that we eat, for that matter. What's called factory farming. And unless you're eating organic foods or foods that come directly from a farmer, that you spoke to and they told you, like, oh yeah, we use all natural methods. All of the meat and dairy, certainly in this country, probably, most of the world, except for places that are still really, growing their own foods, and, lots and lots of farmers that are actually raising the animals themselves. So it's important to, if you are going to eat dairy products or meat products, to look for organic, look for the words grass-fed or pasture-raised, just to make sure you're getting the healthiest versions of those foods. Now, so again, I think whether or not someone should eat dairy and eggs and stuff like that has to be their own decision based on how do those foods make that person feel. Now, there's a couple things that I wanted to say to Marcella. First off, congratulations on your son. I'm sure he's very, very cute. So first off is that I do believe that our body guides us to our ideal diet with the one way that it can control what we eat, which is its cravings. So as an example, when we crave salty foods, that's generally a sign that your body is deficient in minerals. And so the only way that your body can tell you that it needs more minerals is to crave salty foods. Now, unfortunately, all of the processed foods that are out there that most people are eating right now, they kind of throw off your body's craving mechanism, right? So then you're craving Pop-Tarts and you're craving potato chips and you're craving sodas, and unfortunately the caffeine, high levels of sugar, and food chemicals like MSG are designed to destroy your body's craving mechanisms. So let's talk about Marcella. Marcella was eating vegetarian for 12 years and then vegan for 2. Okay, so she's coming from having a very healthy diet, eating lots of vegetables, and, being vegetarian for 12 years, clearly you were really happy with that diet and how it was making you feel, right? So then she has a baby, and just for a second, recognize that when you are pregnant, your body is almost completely changing. Your hormones are completely different than they were before you got pregnant. And even through each stage of pregnancy and postpartum, your hormones are in constant flux. So if now that you've had your baby, you're having these really, really, really strong cravings, I think that's your body's way of telling you that it needs those foods. So if you were craving sodas and coffee and stuff like that, I'd be like, oh yeah, those aren't things that you need. But the bottom line is that there are nutritional benefits that come from milk and that come from eggs. So if your body is craving those things, like, oh, I can't stop eating them, I think that's your body's way of telling you that it needs those foods. And as long as you're still eating lots of vegetables and living a really healthy lifestyle, just the presence of milk and eggs in your diet is not going to completely destroy your health. You may find that after your body kind of gets, back into its normal state, so to speak. So maybe like 3 years after the pregnancy or so, the body really can fully get back to where it was before the pregnancy, hormone-wise, etc. Maybe you find that you don't crave those foods as much anymore. And maybe it's just the pregnancy itself. Because that's a lot of nutrients, that leave our body, through the baby, through the placenta and all of this. So there's just so much going on that it doesn't surprise me that you would crave weird foods. And that's just kind of a typical thing with pregnancy, right? Is that, you have weird food cravings. So largely it's because, the body is losing so many nutrients and there's just so much flux and so much change going on. So I would just encourage you to always opt for organic. In the case of eggs, you'll see things like pasture raised on the eggs. That's a good sign that, those chickens were raised in a field. They weren't raised in a factory eating grains. With milk, you want to have whole milk rather than 2% or skim milk. You don't want to remove the fats from the milk. Part of why your body is probably craving the milk is because of all of those healthy fats that it contains. So, eat the egg. It's full egg, the yolk. The reason you're probably craving the eggs is for the yolk. So, just make sure that you're eating that whole food. Always opt for organic when you can. Keep the rest of your diet all really healthy. And I would just, recommend that you try to not stress yourself out too much, that you're breaking your vegan diet, because your body's just going through so much change, that, I think it's natural for our cravings and our diet to change when we have something really big going on, like a pregnancy. All right, you guys. Scrolling down, looking for question marks. We are coming to the end of the live chat. Victoria's World, hello from Croatia. I had knee surgery on my ACL a week ago and was wondering what I should eat and how much now that I'm not working out. If you just had a surgery, I would say the most important thing for you to think about is just nurturing your body. So really healthy foods, healthy protein, healthy fats, because your body is, healing and repairing in a big way. So the last thing that you want to do is restrict your calories. Because remember, the foods that we eat are like the building blocks for the body creating itself. So when we eat protein, the body breaks it into amino acids and then reconstructs those amino acids to build our own muscle. So if you're healing from a surgery, the most important thing is not to think about, oh, how much should I eat? I don't want to gain weight or whatever. I'm not working out, whatever. The main thing that you should be thinking about is nurturing your body, giving it plenty of nutrients, plenty of healthy fats and protein, and I would just let your hunger guide you. Because if you're eating real foods, natural foods that haven't been processed and made into, junk foods and prepackaged meals and all this stuff, then your body will guide you to how much you need to eat, and it'll get full. You'll get that full feeling when you've eaten enough. So the most important thing is for you to get plenty of nutrients, I would encourage you to not worry about, oh, how much should I eat now that I'm not working out? Like, just take care of yourself. Rest, relax, eat good, healthy foods. You know, let your body recover. Anyhow, guys, I am getting the signal to wrap up my live chat here, so I'm gonna have to go ahead and do that. Please come back and check in the channel. In just about 10 minutes or so, I'm gonna be publishing my top 5 supplements for the fall video. And any of you out there with families, I want to tell you about something called iherb.com. So it looks like iherb.com, but the H is silent, right? It's a fantastic website. They have, I think, thousands of different grocery and supplement vitamin type items for the entire family. They ship to over 160 countries. They have customer service in 10 different languages. And I just love this website because it takes what has been a huge barrier for people in getting healthy and lack of access and completely just takes it away. So now, you know, really easy, you know, 160 different countries that they ship to. I know that's not all of them, but that is certainly bringing healthy products to a lot of places that may have not had the access before. So I love it. Please come check out my video. Come learn the top 5 supplements for fall. And guys, I just want to thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for all of the amazing questions. And I cannot wait to see you all again next week. Happy, happy, happy Halloween. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.